Trump grabbing Bill Clinton by the balls. Trump's just grabbing them balls. Well, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome back to the Lost-Begotten's little black box with the blue stuff around it. Today's broadcast will be possibly completely pointless, because I've just been hanging out, having a good time with my wife most of the night, watching Constantine, which apparently she's never seen before. And then, of course, resuming Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Or is it, you're supposed to say DS9? And like sound like a cool geek? Because, you know, that's not an oxymoron. I love it like when geeks have standards. Like you're not cool among the geeks unless you use that terminology that is already acceptable by geeks. Like, so the Merface has joined us. Say hello, Merface.
Hello, Merface.
She was in there apparently trying to find something to snooze to, and wound up amused by my little intro there.
Yeah, I started to fall asleep, and then I heard that, and I peeked up my head to hear and busted out laughing.
I just happened to find this. Let you see it there. That's just a special picture right there. Live stream.
Hello, gentlemen.
I like that. That's cute.
Hope you all are doing well this morning or evening, or it's kind of morning/evening for us.
Yeah, I tell you what, you can't really watch the next generation films and get full entertainment from them without being familiar, at least with the series. Like, you don't have to see all the series or by any means, but you know, it helps.
It helps to get you in touch with the characters.
Yeah, the characters are a lot richer than just a movie can even present, you know? And there's little subtleties that I noticed, like seeing the Star Trek Next Generation movies, for instance, back in the 90s, in the theaters. You could spot the geeks because they were the ones laughing at the inside jokes, man. Like, because, you know, back then you had people that actually watched the series and people just looking to go see a good sci-fi movie. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that the people that watch the series are better. Just better human beings, damn it. No, I'm just kidding.
It teaches good values.
But actually it really does. You know, just being haughty and cute about it is you know, one thing, but when it all comes down to it, you can learn a lot about people and society and imaginative, like healthy, speculative sciences. I think it's very... Again, I've said it over and over again. It's a very good thing for people to get their kids watching, you know? And, of course, it's a wonderful source of memes like... oh, come on, where's Q? The original Q, not the stupid QAnon. It's just like an entire organization meant to troll me. Let's see here. There we go, we got that one. And we got, of course, Mr. No Collusion. I just saw, like, Evil Worf stab him in the parallel universe. That was kind of hilarious. If you're not familiar with this character here, not this guy, Garrick, this guy, that is one of the most hilarious characters in all of drama. You know, like, you ever found one of them characters that you just, like, fucking priceless, okay? This guy is a spy. Kinda. I don't want to give too much away. He's either a spy or he's just a tailor. He's just a simple tailor. And part of the fun of the first few seasons is finding out, you know, which. But, he's got a hell of a personality. And the Cardassians, his species, they're very interesting people. It seems like Roddenberry was referring to different cultures that we weren't really historically exposed, you know, like educationally exposed to quite so much. And like each different alien species not necessarily represents a specific culture, but represents types of culture that we otherwise don't really get enough healthy exposure to, really, should I say, like to understand ourselves. Like, for instance, this is a Serbian. She will cut a motherfucker.
I'm sure there's still a few people walking around that could attest to that.
They got the stitches to...
Snitches get stitches, bro.
Snitches get stitches. Don't cry like little bitches.
Yep.
Anyways.
We have bad tempers. And like I thought,
They're Klingons, basically. My wife is a Klingon.
I used to think it was just me until I met that old man at the last job. The 91-year-old war veteran who came in. We were doing a case for him for his daughter, and he knew I was not of this country. Asked me where I was from, and I told him, and he kind of backed away on the couch, across the counter from me. Still backed away nonetheless. Said, "You bitches are crazy." Apparently he dated a Serbian who just used to beat the shit out of him whenever she felt like it, so my temper's not that bad. Most days. Sometimes you just gotta cut them up.
Or cut yourself.
Yeah, I did quite a bit of self-mutilation, actually.
Unintentional
self-mutilation. Mutilational. I'm tired.
Why don't you give us a mutilational speech? I'm listening to mutilational music.
Well, first, what you do is you take your rusty blade.
No, wait, I think it's just Nine Inch Nails.
Nine Inch Nails, yeah.
Mutilational music.
Yeah, there you go.
Like that picture of Dingo?
Yes. That's just funny.
And of course I have I thought I had Sissy in here too. Oh, we got Misha. When we first got her. This is little Misha when we first got her.
Ain't nothing little about that bitch now, man. She's huge.
She's still relatively petite for a cat, you know.
She's bigger than her sister Raven.
Yeah.
And Raven's pregnant.
Right? I never would have thought she'd have got bigger than Raven.
Right. And Raven's pregnant, and Misha's still bigger than Raven.
Goes to show, you know, like, they may occasionally have some problems, but overall, Purina is a hell of a good company.
Right.
I don't buy all this shit. Oh my god, it's got corn and grain. And so,
we eat corn
it's
and
a
grain.
dog.
Well, we eat corn and grain.
It's a dog. They will eat pig shit. Like, okay. A dog will eat cat shit.
Yes.
Rat shit.
Yes.
Bat shit.
Yes. That just seemed right to follow.
If it's an animal that shits and is spelled with 3 letters, a dog will eat it. Or it's shit.
What's the shiny thing in the picture?
That's her duct tape cast, remember? Because her leg was all messed up in the beginning.
I'm blind. I can't tell. It's just fuzzy.
So,
shiny.
apparently it worked. We left that on her for a couple of weeks until her little mutilated leg straightened out. And because she was growing, she had active stem cells in there. It helped heal her leg out. Good genetics.
When first Spawn got home from school today, both Misha and Lainey were curled up on the top of the toilet.
Where did Polly come from?
Mississippi.
Okay, so she's from...
Yeah, she's not.
She's from way out of town.
There's no inbreeding going on there.
And then bred with a cat that's probably an 8th bobcat. These ferals that they have out here seem to have a high bobcat. Well, I mean low, but relatively high for the kind of cats you'd think you'd want domesticated. And if I was a layman and I heard somebody say that, I would be in disbelief. So let me just explain my experience that has led me to this conclusion. Actually, here on YouTube, you can see this one guy keeps a various mix of degrees. He has half and quarter and 8th bobcats. And I had no idea until I saw what those mixes actually looked like. But once I did, it became so obvious why the patterns and the overall attitude of some of these cats is around here.
Well, you do realize too that it's very common nowadays that people are getting like those Savannah cats and the Bengal cats and stuff like that, like the ones that are exotic. And I'm sure that those are starting to get bred and interbred.
Well, Misha could be, half domestic, whereas Tiger Lily was basically a quarter bobcat because she came from 2 different wild.
Misha, no, I mean Polly was always an outside cat. Polly was never a tame inside cat. She's always kind of been a feral huntress.
Right, but she's from an inside cat line. You know what I'm saying? She's not from this bobcat half-breed.
I thought she just got found.
She's not from this bobcat half-breed line around here.
Oh, no, not down here.
Right. and you notice Misha doesn't have the spots.
Tiger Lily did.
Tiger Lily
had stripes.
Spots.
She has stripes on her back.
Spots, man.
Stripes on her back and spots on her tummy.
In fact, I'd be surprised if I can't find an old picture of Tiger Lily.
That's an old picture of me, good God. Look at how long hair.
Picture of you. Look how beautiful.
Her. My sister and my friends surprised me with a photo shoot.
There we go.
That's a good one where you can see her spots.
I tell you what, if we ever get another of these bobcat kittens, I'm gonna try to treat them completely different. Because I don't know if she wound up having like some kind of nervous problem from being inside, but she was terrified of going outside, you know?
Yeah, she would like stick one paw
She
outside.
really had
and
like
that's
some
it.
kind of serious nervous problem. She started out so dependent on us and wouldn't play with her siblings. She was like a little runt.
Why do I always get the pictures of the cats yawning? Oh my god, I didn't even notice that. Remember the one I got Lainey?
Yeah, right.
Yawning.
They always look like the Defiler from fucking Spawn movie. I miss her too.
I don't know Lainey. What'd you do to her?
What is this? I meme her. I'm so cute. You actually want me to tear your face off, don't you? Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, did you show off Lainey's new collar, or was she long gone before you started this?
I have no idea. She was long gone. As soon as I got up to change the controller out. Yes. So a little bit of spots, and then like this extreme spotted pattern on Tiger Lily is the difference, as far as I know, as far as identifying them.
They're both on top of the toilet again. Like on the tank lid. That's where we found them earlier. And they're back.
Yeah, alright, so and there's the little bird I rehabilitated.
The one that you hit?
No.
No.
I forgot where we even found this freaking bird.
It was here. Oh, that's my face. Yes, darling, that's my face. Yes. Lainey, you have no concept of personal space, honey.
I'm starting to lose track of animals and taking care of so many of them.
Right? Every time our neighbors find a sick animal, we're like the first place everybody comes to.
I've always been that person, like wherever I lived.
We're Dr. Doolittle. Hello there, Miss Priss.
Anyway, so how you guys doing? Sorry for boring, reminiscing. I'm still looking through all them photographs I found in the little tweet bin thing.
Oh, yes, that's my eye. Please don't poke my eye out here, close. I know you love me.
Where'd it go? Where I managed to re-find wonderful screenshots like this. Can't really go wrong there. Yeah. Like, you know, I can't get in a mood anymore where I'm just like, maybe I'm just crazy. I can't get depressed and be like, I don't wanna. I'm gonna convince myself that that it's all just a bad dream or something, you know? And then I come across this. It's like, yeah, that's what my face looks like that way, and yeah, it's kind of what my face looks like that way. I didn't even mean to do that other one. I had no idea there was a face on that one until someone told me. Oh. Looks like me after I'm shaved and I don't know what to do with my face muscles. I thought that was Lainey. I could have sworn that was Lainey.
No, it was me. She's passed out.
Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't for shit like that, it was just like I was just guessing at random and just, oh yeah, the Russians. Oh, wait. What was the first thing I said I needed to do when I woke up in 2011? I was like standing up, looking off into the distance inside the house, trying to regain my bearings. Remember, I started looking at maps. I'm like sitting there, I need to find Mordor, okay? I don't know how to describe this to you. It's like Mordor. I was just so, like, because of brainwashing, because everybody's, like, who gives a fuck about Russia anymore? It's like...
I still wish that my upcoming doctor's appointment was with the doctor that you saw. Like, I'm still kind of pissed about that.
So, what about the doctor?
Oh, the doctor who thought that you were absolutely batshit crazy for thinking that...
I got in a coughing fit from laughing at it, but she needs to tell the story to y'all, so you know why I'm laughing.
So do I tell the whole story, like why we were at that doctor?
Just a brief.
So we went to the doctor for a reevaluation for stuff, and the doctor asked Sean's opinion just about things in general. So Sean started telling him about what Russia was doing and what they were planning to do here. And the guy literally thought that Sean was batshit crazy. Now, I have one of these appointments coming up.
In 2014.
Yeah, this was in 2014. And I have one of these appointments coming up, and I got so disappointed that I don't have the same doctor, because I was so going to rub it in his face that my husband's not crazy. Like, wait, hey, remember that guy that was spouting off about Russia? And you thought he was
I mean, I'm crazy. Just like, that, of all the things to be like rolling your eyes about, I was amused.
Right.
Obviously, I'm batshit crazy.
I think I sat with my mouth covered through most of that because I was trying so hard not to laugh.
What I have is called stress-induced psychosis, which means if you piss me off, watch the fuck out, because I don't even know you from Tweety Bird.
Ooh, that's familiar.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Little mistraumatized over here.
With good reason.
Right.
All things considered.
She had like a little thing that snaps, and she starts like confusing me with her ex-husband. Anyways.
Doesn't help that y'all are about the same height. Or was the same height. I don't know, he's kind of short now.
now there's about 12-foot difference. Me and he's 6 foot under.
No, he's in a jar somewhere.
I like my geometry jokes.
I know, but just saying that he's in a jar on the shelf somewhere is just...
Yeah, I made a geography joke yesterday. I had to make a geometry joke today.
I got you. But you know, if you take physics, though, and accountability with the flood, they might not be on a shelf anymore. I can laugh about this. I'm allowed to. Nobody judge me. You don't know me.
Yeah. Flathead or Phillips? Sorry.
It was actually a flathead. I think that's what made it hurt worse, actually. I think the Phillips would have been better. In hindsight, hindsight's always 20/20. Grab the
For
other
those of
one.
you who don't know, you don't want to know.
No, you don't. And I'm not going to tell it because it's just not the story I want to tell before I go to bed.
But, the difference between, him and his crimes and, like, little Moses Yeltsin Trollbot guy and his crimes and my ability to tolerate either one of their existences basically hinged upon not the personal nature, but just usefulness. Little troll boy, picture this. He is a material witness. He is subject to interrogation.
This is true.
Yeah, I can't let him
don't use your claws to hang
evaporate.
on. If you start to fall, just fall. Do not claw me for grip.
In fact, I would think that he actually has my protection in a weird little way. I can make him suffer, but I can't actually endanger him. In fact, the best thing his superiors could do to protect their own asses at this point would be to just take his ass out. So if I were him, I'd watch his back.
Then he's going to be chasing himself in a circle.
I'm saying that to be just, evil and a little shit, but it also is true. That's what makes it so delightful.
Really, Lainey?
What you guys think? Rodriguez, Carlos. You think his superiors might just decide he knows too much sometime soon? I mean, things are looking a little precarious in a lot of different fronts. A lot of people been just popping up dead lately. And well, Sissy don't give a shit.
Nope.
Yeah, whatever his name is.
All right, y'all. It has been pleasant.
Doctor. Remember, he's a psychologist.
Oh, God.
Dr. Moses Yeltsin.
On that note, due to my upcoming busy schedule that starts in a few hours, I'm going to attempt to get some sleep now.
Yay.
You gentlemen have a lovely day or evening, or I'm too tired to do the math to figure out what time it is where y'all are.
I think maybe Moses Yeltsin is actually either Trump himself or Alex Jones.
Well, he spells too well to be Trump.
I think it really does fit as far as his ability to spout rhetoric. Sound a lot like Alex Jones.
You
like
sure
he
it's not
might
Steve
actually
Bannon?
be Alex Jones.
You sure it's not Bannon?
No, it looks like Alex Jones to me.
Yeah. All right. Good night, gentlemen. I am
Steve
off to
Bannon
bed.
kind of looks like a cross between like Smeagol and Darth Vader with the helmet off.
You want to come to bed with me? Oh, we didn't show off a pretty collar.
Hold on 1 second. I need to adjust the camera here. So we can show just how cute this little $1 collar is. Probably won't last very long, but
I don't know, she seems to have adjusted to it rather quickly.
right? She doesn't seem to mind it at all, which is surprising. Back
Can you see
there we
it?
go.
And it's got pre-bell. I am not good at this. You say hello.
She's that way. No, don't go more that way. Oh my God.
Poor Lainey's like, what the hell is this bitch doing to me?
Okay, so it's got little what's on it?
It's
got little fish bones.
Fish bones and hearts.
Fish bones and hearts.
White fish. It's a black collar with white fish bones and pink hearts with a little pink bell that goes ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling when she runs really, really fast. Or like when you shake her. Like this. She jingles. I'm going to bed now.
Stop shaking the kitty.
She can't get, what is it, sudden infant shaking, whatever. I'm going to bed. Good night.
I think it'd be skids.
Skids.
Or something.
Sudden kitten death syndrome. Stop tearing up my couch, you shithead. Alright, good night, everybody. Or good morning.
Right. Happy 420. You know what? I think we'll just keep it that view. John Brennan, I gave Trump a year to live up.
You ever wonder why you wake up with an ache in your shoulder?
I love this. I love these commercials with the arms coming out of the bed. It's fucking hilarious.
And thanks you at home for joining us this hour. Happy Friday. We here on this show.
Oh, and by the way, that Layla thing, that's something that I conceived of back in the fucking mid-90s. Great idea. I highly recommend that product to anyone who could purchase it. As far as concept goes, they seem to have found a very good series of design applications, you know, for the as far as presentation, durability goes. It looks good the way they've made it. Like, you know, as someone who already conceived of a similar invention and spent some time thinking about how to do it, I'm kind of like hoping to one day have one of those damn things, because it looks like they did probably a better job than I ever could have. And that's nice, you know, like when you have a good idea, it's like you decide like, no, probably somebody's better off having that idea, and then somebody does, and they do a really good fucking job of it, and then you can't afford it. Never mind.
Are having
We're just talking about
and thanks you at home for joining us this hour. Happy Friday. We here on this show are having a big news night tonight that we have been prepping for the past 2 days. We have for our special guest tonight former CIA Director John Brennan.
Oh,
Director Brennan is the first in what the president has
wondering
threatened
why
will
we
be
had a
a
big long
long line of current and former senior law enforcement and intelligence officials.
Long thing.
Whose security
I was saying
clearances
long.
the
I said
president
long first,
plans
damn
to
it.
revoke.
Okay.
Almost all of the officials he's put on his list thus far are, perhaps coincidentally, people who might.
Now let's hold on here. Pull the thing back up and zoom in and do something else. There we go. So, John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey, Andrew McCabe, Peter Strzok, Susan Wrights, Sally Yates, Michael Hayden, and Lisa Page, really? And Bruce Orr? They have a current DOJ official on the list? So, John Brennan, just in case you haven't gotten all these names and titles straight. John Brennan, former CIA director. James Clapper, former DNI, or Director of National Intelligence. And actually, I believe Clapper was an interim CIA director or something like that. James Comey was the FBI director for a good long while. Andrew McCabe, former deputy director of FBI, was head of counterterrorism for a long time. Peter Strzok, former FBI senior counterintelligence agent. No, he was an assistant deputy director. And again in charge of counterterrorism. He basically had McCabe's old job, if I'm not mistaken. Susan Rice, former Obama's national security advisor. Sally Yates was the former acting attorney general, was the deputy attorney general, or like the third down or something like that under Obama. And after Holder left, she assumed the position as acting attorney general until basically she tried to treat Trump as though he was going to, maybe use Russia to get in office, but then actually act like a fucking American, and then, show concern for their continued efforts to destabilize our democracy, and then she witnessed some shit that makes him look guilty as fuck. Michael Hayden, former CIA director. Actually, now they're getting me a little confused because it was one of these guys, Brennan, Clapper, or Hayden. It's easy to get the three of them confused because they have such a logical foundation as men that their personalities become difficult to distinguish. And they look alike too, so that doesn't help. Generally speaking, just old, half-bald white guys. Anyways. So, Bruce Orr. I have no idea who that is. I think I've only heard the name. Lisa Page, deputy director, or deputy counsel to deputy director. Heard the name in a previous Rachel Maddow story. I forgot what it was about. Maybe she'll refresh our memories on these two.
Be in a position to conceivably testify about what they observed during the Russian attack on the 2016 election, including potentially ties to Trump campaign officials and reaction to the investigation from inside the Trump transition, the Trump White House, and from the president himself. After the president yanked the former CIA director's security clearance, the president told the Wall Street Journal bluntly, in a sort of impromptu interview, according to the Journal, that the reason he went after the CIA director in that way, the reason he revoked those security clearances, is specifically because of the Russia investigation. The president drew a direct link, telling the Journal, quote, "I call it the rigged witch hunt. It is a sham, and these people let it." No president is ever known to have ever personally intervened to revoke the security clearance of any official or former official, let alone for the reason this president explained in this case. When you're on uncharted territory, you don't always know what will come next for us as a country, but when you're the person in the middle of uncharted attacks like this, you have to wonder what it feels like. This interview tonight with John Brennan will be his first live TV interview since...
Like, okay, frankly, they should be impeached just on failure to follow procedure. Failure to fulfill roles. Failure to follow guidelines. Okay, that's impeachable right there. You don't even... Collusion, that's impeachable. Doesn't even have to be criminal to be impeachable. Fucking Republicans have lost their minds. They literally must want to destroy this country every day that they don't impeach him.
The president took this action. Director Brennan, thank you very much for being here tonight, sir. I know you have choices about where to be. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Rachel, for having me on.
You were CIA director from 2013 to January of 2017. You were President Obama's counterterrorism and homeland security advisor. You were 25 years as a CIA officer. Before that, you have been through some stressful situations in your life. How has it been these past couple of days since the president singled you out for attack and punishment in this way?
It's fine. As far as I'm concerned personally, I'm fine. It's not unexpected. He had signals that something like this was going to happen. Nobody, though, got in touch with me from the White House or CIA since it was first noted that my security clearance was under review. I learned about it when somebody called me to say that Sarah Huckabee Sanders was announcing at the podium that those clearances were revoked. Again, I was not shocked for a couple reasons. One, there was a heads up. But secondly, I'm not shocked, quite frankly, at all the appalling things that Mr. Trump has done. And so I think this is an egregious act that flies in the face of traditional practice, as well as common sense, as well as national security. I think that's why there's been such a outcry from many intelligence professionals, not to support me, but to support the principle that security clearances are something that's very, very solemn and sacred, and they never, ever should be used for political purposes, either to grant friends those clearances or to revoke clearances of your critics.
And with 3 decades experience at the CIA and all of your other government service, clearly you're familiar with clearances, with the processes and procedures around clearances, including the processes that exist inside the government for revoking them for cause. When the president first signaled that he might go after your security clearance, did you expect that the CIA would then be put through its paces in terms of the normal procedures for how these things go, that they would write a memo, they would evaluate whether you had behaved in any way that would justify this action? Did you expect that it would go through channels?
Well, if these were normal times, I would have expected it. But these are not normal times. These are...
Why is she talking so much louder than him?
So I didn't expect any adherence to process, any adherence to the steps and the measures and the regulations that exist by executive order. I think Mr. Trump has demonstrated time and time again that he believes that just because he has the authority to do these things, that he has, in fact, the right to do it irrespective of what is truly the appropriate thing to do.
And appropriate is
follow
a general
process and
word
procedure.
There. Congressman Elijah Cummings has suggested, and other observers have suggested that even though the president does have the right to sort of handle security clearances as commander-in-chief, there are executive orders that supposedly guide the way these things are handled. Congressman Cummings has suggested overtly that it may be illegal, what the president has done.
Exactly.
Congressman Schiff, who's the top Democrat on Intel, has suggested the same thing.
Impeachably illegal.
Are you considering legal
Not
action?
criminally
Do you think
illegal.
you have a legal right to exert against the president's actions here?
Well, I think, as you can imagine, a number of lawyers have reached out to say that there is a very strong case here. Not so much to reclaim mine, but to prevent this from happening in the future. Mm-hmm. And so I am thinking about what it is that I might want to do. At this time, I'm trying to make sure that the principle is what is going to be defended and supported. And this is something that should not be repeated. The other people on the so-called enemies list now, I think this is just another example of Mr. Trump trying to frighten and intimidate others. But I can tell you, having worked in the national security and intelligence community for many, many years, these are not the type of people who are going to be bullied or intimidated by someone of the likes of Mr. Trump.
There is a list. They are former senior, one currently serving Justice Department official. And there's actually some news about him tonight that I want to get your reaction to. It's just broken within the last hour or so. But among this list, you appear to be first. The president is threatening to revoke everybody else's security clearances. He acted against you. Do you have a sense of why the president thinks you're so special? Why he's started with you? I don't know. I guess I don't know if I'm asking about something personal. I guess the way that I imagine this might go is that there might be something that you know, or that he knows that you know, that might be making him particularly angry or particularly nervous.
I don't know what it is that's motivating Mr. Trump to focus on me at first. I met Mr. Trump only once at Trump Tower in early January 2017 when we briefed him on the intelligence community assessment on Russians.
Hold up. I looked down for a second. I want to get a very good look at his eyes.
Why he's
when he
started with you.
that answer.
I don't know. I guess I don't know if I'm asking about something personal. I guess the way that I imagine this might go is that there might be something that you know, or that he knows that you know, that might be making him particularly angry or particularly nervous.
I don't know what it is that's motivating Mr. Trump to focus on me at first. I met Mr. Trump only once at Trump Tower in early January 2017 when we...
Okay, so I've noticed that CIA deception training, as does many other intelligence services, include the, I suppose, how would you call it, a strategy, the progression of when you're on an uncomfortable situation where you don't want to reveal through any sort of body language your deception, the best bet is to move along to a true story that you can just sit there and tell that's relevant. Okay. And that's what he did just then. If you notice, while she's still asking his question, feel free to go watch this interview in full detail in its entirety. I don't think I can zoom it in far enough to... Let's see here. Dingo, not helping. Go on. All right.
Well, if I'm asking about something...
So, in fact, let's back it up all the way to then, because his fingers were crossed.
You appear to be first. The president is threatening to revoke everybody else's security clearances. He acted against you. Do you have a sense of why the president thinks you're so special? why he's started with you? I don't know. I guess I don't know if I'm asking about something personal. I guess the way that I imagine this might
crossed
go is
and massaging.
There might be something that you know, or that he knows that you know, that
now
might be making
fidgeting.
him particularly...
Just then.
I'm asking about something personal. I guess the way that I imagine
with
this
little
might go
fidget.
Is that there might be something that you know, or
right
that he
there.
knows that you know, that might be making him particularly angry or particularly nervous.
I don't know what it is that's motivating Mr.
Why he's started with you. I don't know. I guess I don't know if I'm asking about something personal. I guess the way that I imagine this might go is that there might be something that you know, or that he knows that you know, that might be making him particularly angry or particularly nervous.
I don't know what it is that's motivating Mr. Trump to focus on me at first.
Thing that you know, or that he knows that you know, that
thumb
might
tap
be making
there.
him particularly...
He's got one hand inside the other, kind of like tapping his thumb. Okay. So now I'm just going to look at his face.
I'm asking about something personal. I guess the way that I imagine this might go is that there might be something that you know, or that he knows that you know, that might be making him particularly angry or particularly nervous.
I don't know what it is that's motivating Mr. Trump to focus on me at first. I met Mr. Trump only once at Trump Tower in early January 2017 when we briefed him on the intelligence community assessment on Russian interference election. That's the only interaction I've had with him ever. Now, I have been outspoken, and I'm sure that my outspokenness and some of the things that I've said have, irritated him. I wish I didn't have to say these things. And it's one thing to have policy differences or substantive differences with presidents, and I've had them in the past with previous presidents. What really gets under my skin is Mr. Trump's lack of decency.
He's a very intelligent, very good man. But I can see why he's not a field agent. Really sucks that America really can in no way have its equivalent to Putin. So, look at his forehead and shoulder shrug, how it kind of has a commonality with his later gestures that are in the same emotional and adversarial kind of context. But in the beginning, he's kind of got this longer period of closed eyes and just a little bit more of a shrug. It's very subtle, but
Particularly nervous.
it's what I picked up on when I first watched.
Personal, I guess the way that I imagine this might go is that there might be something that you know, or that he knows that you know, that might be making him particularly angry or particularly nervous.
I don't know what it is that's motivating Mr. Trump to focus on me at first. I met Mr. Trump only once at Trump Tower in early January 2017 when we briefed him on the intelligence community assessment on Russian interference.
See, that's all the factual, comfortable story.
That's the only interaction.
And now's the little shrug it's also true, and it's got the emotional context to it, and he's gonna have the same posture and the same blink, also true, to try to
had with them ever. Now, I
blend
have
it in
been
together.
outspoken, and I'm sure that my outspokenness and some of the things that I've said have, irritated him.
Same gesture.
I wish I didn't have to say these.
But if you look in the initial part of the response,
You know, or that he knows that you know, that might be making him particularly angry or particularly nervous.
I don't know.
that little roll with it.
What it is that's motivating Mr. Trump to focus on me at first. I met Mr. Trump only once at Trump Tower in early January 2017 when we briefed him on the intelligence community assessment on Russian.
So the two parts of that aren't true is that he doesn't know, and he knows why, but not why at first. But judging even by the way he said it first, adding it in as something to make that first statement technically true, that's only just the way he said it. It sounds like he's only not come to a decision per se. He knows within the realms of a certain few possibilities, and there probably remain some unknowns, but he's at least got a theory. So what he said is technically true. Everything he just said is technically true. But, Dingo, lay down. Well, that's good. Try to slap my knee and slap the fucking controller with a lighter. Holy crap.
You
But
know,
it just
irritated him.
No. Dingo, over there. Go on. Stop, like, I mean, why are you, like, just all up on... you have all that space to lay down, Dingo. There you go. Good boy. With your paws not right on the damn camera stand. Well, I wouldn't go as far as to say he's a terrible liar. He's not that interested in lying. You know? He's not necessarily trying to deceive anyone. He's sticking to the technical rules that he has to stick to, while still trying to be as informative as possible. See what I'm saying? Like I said, he's no field agent, but I wouldn't go as far as to call him a terrible liar. But I think what we can learn from this, based on the, analysis I just gave, is that he knows something. And that particular thing that he knows is probably related to his theory why he's first. You know what? Chicken butt.
With them ever.
I just realized.
Now, I have been outspoken.
I just realized if I said the thought that I just had, I would be giving away vital information. And well, Brennan wouldn't do it, and I'm not going to either. I didn't figure anything out as far as what he knows, but yeah. Yeah. It's a good thing. What I figured out is a good thing. In fact, go ahead. Focus on all those big bad Obama people. Sure. Think that that's going to distract anyone that matters. Anyways, let's move on and see what the heroic Mr. Brennan has to say.
I'm sure that my outspokenness and some of the things that I've said have, irritated him. I wish I didn't have to say these things. And it's one thing to have policy differences or substantive differences with presidents, and I've had them in the past with previous presidents. Mm-hmm. What really gets under my skin is Mr. Trump's lack of decency, integrity, honesty, and his lack of commitment to this country's well-being and national security. Mr. Trump is motivated by whatever is in the best interest of Mr. Trump. That has been his modus operandi for many decades. I was hoping that he was going to change once he assumed the solemn responsibilities of the office of the presidency. That's why for my first year, I sometimes spoke out when he was in front of the agency's memorial wall and spoke about the size of his inauguration crowd. But I did it very, very selectively. I gave him a year. I said, maybe he is going to adapt and change. But it seemed like day after day, week after week, month after month, things just got worse. And he did not live up to, I think, what Americans expect of the President of the United States. To speak with great forcefulness.
That's why I never called him the fucking president.
With integrity and honesty. Mr. Trump, time after time, I think, has really just disappointed millions of Americans, which I'm trying to give voice to. And so I know a lot of people think that a former intelligence official shouldn't be doing this. I don't consider what I'm doing political at all. I've never registered as a Republican or a Democrat, through my entire life. But I feel such a commitment to this country's security and its reputation. And I'm the son of an immigrant, and my father taught me and my siblings early on just how important it is that we take as very special the privilege of being born an American citizen. And so when I see what Mr. Trump is doing, basically trashing the reputation of this country worldwide, and the way he has treated Americans, fellow Americans, how he refers to them, the divisiveness, the incitement, the fueling of hatred and polarization. This is not what this country's about.
Presidents over the centuries, over the generations, some of them have been terrible jerks, if you read the right history books. Some of them have been deliberately divisive. Some of them have had terrible ideas or treated people in their personal lives or even in political life in egregious ways. Your criticism of President Trump rises above that type. Despite what you just articulated here, you've gone further than that. After Helsinki, you were stark and even a little bit scary in your criticism of his behavior. You said it rose to treason.
I said it was nothing short of treasonous.
In this current controversy, that specific comment has been singled out by a number of people as a comment that maybe by you crossed the line. That was maybe...
Crossed what line?
Well, was it
freedom of speech?
No, I'm not saying that you don't have a right to say it. But do you stand by that consideration? And can you explain, can you elaborate what you mean by treasonous? It's a very serious allegation.
I know what the Russians did in interfering in the election. I have, I'm at 100% confidence in what they did. And for Mr. Trump to stand on that stage in Helsinki with all the world's eyes upon him and to basically said he doesn't understand why would the Russians interfere in the election. He's given Mr. Putin and the Russians a pass time after time after time. And he keeps referring to this whole investigation as a witch hunt, as, bogus, as, and to me, this was an attack against the foundational principle of our great republic, which is the right of all Americans to choose their elected leaders. And for Mr. Trump to so cavalierly just dismiss that, yes, sometimes my Irish comes out and my tweets, and I did say that it rises to and exceeds the level of high crimes and misdemeanors and is nothing short of treasonous, because he had the opportunity there to be able to say to the world that this is something that happened, it should never ever happen again, and if Russia tries at all to do it, they're going to pay serious
and there's the definition of treason.
For it. I don't expect Mr. Putin to acknowledge it. He's going to deny.
Aid and comfort.
But for the President of the United States to continue to prevaricate on this issue, I think does a great injustice and a disservice to the men and women of the intelligence law enforcement community, and does a great disservice to the citizens of the United States. And that's why I said it was nothing short of treasonous. I didn't mean that he committed treason, but it was a term that I used, nothing short of treasonous.
Well, you didn't mean that he committed treason, though.
I said it's nothing short of treasonous. That was the term that I used, yeah.
That's the... If we diagram the sentence, nothing short of treasonous means it's treason. I mean, the reason I'm bringing this out is because when you say, I know what the Russians did, and then when you knowing what the Russians did, observing the president's behavior, you go to the word treason, it suggests that you think the president may be serving a foreign country rather than our own.
Well, yeah. I think he has crossed the line repeatedly in terms of his failure to fulfill the responsibility of the office and to look Vladimir Putin square in the eye and say, this should never, ever happen again.
Do you think that he is knowingly serving the interests of the Russian government instead of the U.S. government?
I scratch my head a lot. I'm puzzled over why Mr. Trump acts this way with such obsequiousness to Mr. Putin. I don't know. And I'm not going to try to pretend that I know. Mm-hmm. But there is something that is very disconcerting, very worrisome about how an individual who occupies the Oval Office interacts with Mr. Putin. And I'm a great advocate of improving relations between Moscow and Washington. Don't get me wrong. I was a strong supporter of that during the Obama administration. And I stuck my neck out a number of times, particularly on Syria, to say, no, we need to be able to work with the Russians to be able to bring this mass carnage to a halt. But time after time, the Russians, would feign sincerity better than anybody I've ever known. But I do believe we need to get this behind us. I don't want this to, roil the waters forever. But we need to have a president who's going to acknowledge this and make sure that he is able to then move on.
How do we get this behind this? I mean, you're suggesting that there's things that we do not yet know that have not yet been adjudicated or laid fairly before the American people about the president and his connection to what happened with Russia. Do we need to know that in order to move on, or should we decide to move on before we know?
It's called the Mueller investigation. It's called the duly appointed special counsel who was given the mandate to investigate what Russia did in terms of interference in our presidential election, and who might have been working in support of Russian objectives, and who might have committed a crime in that process. And so that's why Robert Mueller is a real national treasure. He needs to be able to continue with this investigation unimpeded.
Mueller's indictment about the GRU, about Russian military intelligence, lays out in black and white, in great detail, an alleged criminal conspiracy to illegally sway the U.S. election. It's named conspirators. It describes what they did. There was an agreement among multiple actors to pursue an aim, and then they took actions in pursuit of that aim. So they've defined a criminal conspiracy existing in the world.
On the part of a foreign government, which you need.
Yes.
A foreign government. Yes, absolutely.
But because that conspiracy has been defined, what would an American have to do to be considered part of that conspiracy? Right? If you've got a foreign conspiracy orchestrated by a foreign government, what does it mean to have an American abettor? What does it mean for an American? I mean, the word collusion has become, refrigerator poetry. It's just used by anybody for any reason, and oftentimes incoherently. But what would amount, in your minds, in intelligence terms, to an American being a part of that conspiracy, the one that's been defined by Robert Mueller already?
Yeah, and I will leave it to the lawyers and to courts to decide whether or not something is criminal or not. But in my mind, it requires someone to knowingly support the efforts of a foreign government to interfere in U.S. domestic politics, and especially in election. And so any American who was working with the Russians, or working with intermediaries who were working with the Russians, and those Americans who knowingly tried to collude, conspire, and to work with them in order to advance their political objectives here in the States, I think that rises to the level of conspiracy. Now, a lot depends on what Robert Mueller has been able to uncover. Maybe there's none of that. And in my op-ed in the New York Times, when I said that Mr. Trump's claims of no collusion are hogwash, is because there is collusion, I think, in open sight now, because of so many things I've learned since I left office, because of what has appeared in the press. The Trump Tower meeting with Don Jr. and others. And I also, when I was CIA director, I didn't know that it was the day that Mr. Trump basically gave a public call to the Russians to find Hillary Clinton's emails, that in fact it was that same day that the GRU was actively looking for it. So there is collusion in plain sight, but I don't know whether or not any of that rises to the level of conspiracy, and whether any of that conspiracy rises to the level of criminal liability for that conspiracy.
You described in detail before Congress, in open setting congressional testimony last spring, that in the summer of 2016, you at CIA were alarmed by, you said your radar went up about the number of contacts between Russian officials and U.S. persons at a time that Russia was mounting this interference campaign. When you say that your radar went up about that, did your radar go up about that just because it appeared that Russian operation had as a component of that operation the engagement of Americans toward that end? Or was it specifically because of the people, the Americans, the specific U.S. citizens who those Russians were targeting? What was it that put your alarm on?
Well, first I knew that it was a very intense Russian effort to interfere in the election, number one. Number two, I am well aware and have a lot of experience in observing what the Russians will do to try to suborn American citizens, to get American citizens to work for them. And this was a very intensive effort. And so, as I said in my op-ed, myself and Jim Comey and Mike Rogers from NSA, we talked about the importance of making sure that our radar, our collection radar, was up so that we had early indications or be able to uncover any effort on the part of the Russians to work with American citizens. But the American citizens were reaching out to the Russians as well to see what they could get, see if they could get any dirt on Hillary Clinton. So my radar was going because I knew the Russians were engaged in this effort, and I was aware of contacts with American citizens that may have been totally innocent on the American citizens' part, and maybe they weren't abetting at all.
Was it clear to you that those contacts with American citizens were part of the operation, that it was part of the way that Russia was trying to accomplish its objectives?
I was very concerned and aware that the Russians were trying to leverage U.S. citizens in order to achieve their objectives in the presidential election.
While you were in office as CIA director before you left on Inauguration Day, did you conclude that U.S. persons were successfully leveraged in that effort?
No. And that's why I said in open testimony that I was concerned about these contacts because people will go down a treasonous path, sometimes very unknowingly, and they get into very hot water and deep water, and then they, in fact, cannot extricate themselves because the Russians are very clever at getting people in positions of potential compromising positions that they then cannot sort of turn back. So when I left office on January 20th of 2017, I had unresolved questions in my mind about whether or not any of those U.S. persons were working in support of the Russian efforts.
And those were referred, those concerns about specific U.S. persons were referred to the FBI.
Right. We call it incidental collection in terms of CIA's foreign intelligence collection authorities. Anytime we would incidentally collect information on a U.S. person, we would hand that over to the FBI because they have the legal authorities to do it. We would not pursue that type of investigative, sort of leads. We would give it to the FBI. So we were picking things up that was of great relevance to the FBI. But we want to make sure that they were there so they could piece it together with whatever they were collecting domestically here. Again,
so it was an intelligence sharing operation between.
Right. We put together a fusion center at CIA that brought NSA and FBI officers together with CIA to make sure that those proverbial dots would be connected.
Let me ask you about one other thing that happened during your tenure as CIA director, and I don't believe you've ever been asked about this before. Several weeks before the election in 2016, the early fall of 2016, I know personally that two well-respected reporters here at NBC approached you and asked you about a story that they were chasing concerning then candidate Donald Trump and connections he might have to Russia and the Kremlin. You were approached by these reporters. They were asking for either on the record or off the record guidance from you on that story, and they say you told them, I don't think I can help you with that. I don't think I can help you with this. I can't confirm it. I don't have that for you. I can't help you. So you wouldn't confirm any of it. You offered no help. This was September of 2016. It sounds like at that time you actually did know quite a lot about the Russian operation to influence the election and potential connections to the Trump campaign. The press was coming to you with these queries. I know they at least were coming to you from these queries from within this building. What was that of interest to you that the press seemed to be onto some of this? And how did you handle that press interest?
Yes, well, I don't think I've ever been asked this question on a news show. But in fact, I informed the Senate Intelligence Committee about this in my closed testimony over the past year and a half. Yes, it was in September, and two journalists, noteworthy members of the media, asked me if I had heard about a document or a report about that it contained some salacious information related to Donald Trump.
Were they specifically asking about the alleged sex tape? Or
they were talking about that, and they used some of those descriptors. Didn't go into great detail, but they led me to believe that it was related to some things that might have happened in Moscow. I didn't confirm or deny anything for various reasons. One is that I don't talk to American journalists about U.S. persons.
Yeah.
Number two, much less talk about a U.S. presidential candidate to journalists. And it was later that year when, in December, was the first time I had ever put eyes on the so-called Steele dossier, that I recalled the conversation I had with those two members of the media and said, oh, this must be what they're talking about, because they said this was widely circulating among the media and the press, this document, this report, these rumors, or whatever else. And I basically told them I can't help with that, and I'm not going to engage. But it was subsequent to that that I connected the dots then and said they must have been talking about what ultimately was referred to as the Steele dossier. Again, I didn't see that dossier until December. There are a lot of people out there, including members of Congress, who claim that I told Senate Majority Leader, Minority Leader at the time, Harry Reid, about it in August or September. That is false. I did not have eyes or information on that dossier until after the election. That's right.
Before it was published in January, but after the election in November.
Right. It became a hot topic of debate within CIA, NSA, and FBI and DNI about whether or not to take that dossier into account when the intelligence community assessment was done. We decided no, because there's no way we could substantiate it. It wasn't an intelligence document. So it was appended to it, but it was not taken into account at all as the intelligence community assessment was done and was completed.
The President has made a specific on-the-record allegation against you on that specific topic. There's also a little bit of breaking news about the security clearance fallout after the President revoked your security clearance this week. Please stick with us. Former CIA Director John Brennan is my guest. We'll be right back.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below.
Huh. Aw, Kofi Annan died. There's a man who took a whole lot of shit and still got a whole lot done. There was an old man in a church I went to who looked and talked just like him. Did Omarosa release any more new tapes? Morning, Joey. Kofi Annan has died at age 80. So anyway, the wife and I watched Constantine earlier, Joey. First time she'd ever seen it. Been a while since I've seen it. I don't think I've watched it since 2011, before she moved in. And that movie, well, it made me wonder, like, what the fuck is it with me and Keanu Reeves movies? Back when I was a little surfer kid, he made a little surfer movie. When I was a little stoner delinquent, he made little stoner delinquent movies. Martial arts, hacker, exorcist. The hell. You know, just like, not exact parallels, but I mean, clearly when I was, you know, fucking 6 years old, surfing in New Zealand, I was not going undercover to bust a group of surfers who were that's the plot of the movie. No, dude, I totally never spoke like that. Yeah, really. Nope. I'm not exactly proud of the way I speak or anything, but no. Definitely I never talked like one of them California stoner dudes. Dude. There's like a whole different type of Valley Girl in Houston, though. There's the Rio Grande Valley Girls. Those are basically the middle class Latinas. They're the ones that use the word stupid. Yeah. I would embellish the impersonation a little more, but I'm not that motivated right now. I just ate a Pop-Tart, so I'm cleaning my teeth with licorice. Oh, the speed timeline? That was when I was riding the bus in Houston. Oh my god, I'd like to retrace my bus route. Like on fucking Google Maps. It'd be hilarious. Let's do it. Fuck it. Alright, Alright, so I just need to find the highway. We can do this. Because this is a hell of a bus route. Like, I can't just say, like, I took the bus to school and make you understand what the fuck I'm talking about here. I went to school downtown. Okay. There's 59. So, there's the Beltway. Yeah. So it should be right here was the fish store, Fish and Pet. Right here. Somewhere. I mean, chances are it's not still open, but it'd be hilarious if it was. It made me really happy if it was. I guess it isn't. But it's right here on this side. And if we're in the right place. Tanner, oh wow! Oh my god. I live right there. I live right there. Right the fuck there. I lived in the garage that was right here, actually. And from these lovely apartments, you could hear M16s and AK-47s on holidays when, you know, you're supposed to be shooting fireworks. This is what you call a taqueria. A taqueria. Yeah, taqueria. I don't remember anymore. I'm sorry. Yo no longer hablo español. No muy for me. I never realized how close together those fucking areas were. So, Sharpstown, Meadows, and what you just don't label A-leaf. I want to remember where I live, damn it. Why don't you just label A-leaf? I got the fucking Meadows. Where's the Meadows? Bel Air. I can find my grandmother's old house. Yay, we're exploring. Airport. Wait, oh, it's Kirkwood. Warehouse 59. And was it Kirkwood? No. It was Dorrance. Sugar Grove, no. There it is. Cool. My house is somewhere in this neighborhood. When I first got here from New Zealand. And this is like the mall that I used to fucking skateboard at. Oh my god, that's the mall I used to skateboard at. Like this is like an old, it was just the, we called it Deadville. See, it's called Deauville, we called it Deadville. There was never anyone there, but they had like parking and weird kind of facilities and shit. It was a great place to skateboard. Anyways, what the fuck was I doing? Oh yeah, Beach Nut. Forgot the whole point of what that was. So, Houston is a gigantic fucking city, man. Just picture the scale of this, okay? All of this is Houston. This whole area here. There's Pearland, that's technically not Houston. Like, this is all Houston. Pasadena, I think, is the only little thing that actually cuts in here as its own municipality. So that's between the inner loop and the outer loop. Inner loop and outer loop. And you start realizing these are giant streets, and these other things that you thought were just small streets, no, they're actually main streets too. And these things that you thought were buildings, no, they're neighborhoods, and you got to go much further down for the buildings. Okay. Hello. Houston is a gigantic fucking city. Just look, I mean, just Imagine that monstrosity. Imagine trying to drive around in that place. Oh my God. I just saw Harwin. Yeah, hold on. Where's Harwin? So I can find my way to another place I lived if I could find Harwin again. Damn. Oh, there it is. Harwin. Wait a minute. Oh, how did I get to my old house? Belvedere Ranch. Ah. No. Wait a minute. Oh my God. Harwin Gessner. Sands Point. Oh, dude. 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 Sweet. What the fuck is this? Hold up. What the fuck is that? Hold up. How the fuck did we get to my house? Hold on. This is... What the fuck is that? That... Was that there? No, that fucking... I don't even know which way I'm facing. West Park is a tollway now? Wow. That's gotta be just drastically different from what I remember then. Like, seriously, this doesn't even look like remotely the same neighborhood. And I don't even know what the fuck to do with myself. Like, I can't even get my bearings. Like, I know one thing's out of the question. Fucking airport trails. So the approximate location of my old house was somewhere here, but this neighborhood has been completely fucking redone. This is where the airport trails were. It looks like they're building a subdivision there now. There used to be railroad tracks right here along this Harwin Drive. Anyways. And then I moved to Sharpstown. Which I don't even know. I was too young to know how to drive there or anything. It's just like another place. Another magical island that I lived on. It's another different type of ghetto. Not that far away, apparently. Or maybe if there's a continuation of Sands Point, I have the wrong location. Oh, here's A-Leaf. Do we have another Sands Point? Yeah, that was the street we went down. There's fucking Chinatown. Holy shit. Oh wait, which way was the tollway? I think I lived on the outside of the tollway. But how come there's no fucking Sands Point? You whores. I saw that bitch, I was like... I'm sorry, I'm sidetracking, reminiscing, but this is... It's like exploring. It was definitely over here. And the street apparently doesn't fucking exist anymore. No. Good God. This doesn't even make sense, man. I don't even know what I'm looking at. Fucking golf courses. Alright, so yeah. Back to the bus route. Beach Nut is there. My dad's house was there. So I waited for the bus here in the ghetto. There were plenty of times where I got right here and realized the bus was right here, and then I had to run down here and still not catch the bus. Fucking bus stops are in like the exact same spot. So anyways, city bus. 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 What just happened? Oh yeah, that. I forgot what the name of that other street is. The bus kind of did like a funky thing. Somewhere around here. This is the medical center, right? Yeah, it was right around the medical center. The bus did some kind of funky thing. And then on in. Where was it? Oh God. Where the fuck? Oh no, there's the medical center. And then I think to Old Spanish Trail. And I had to transfer. And I have no idea where in downtown the shit was. It was like downtown. Really? Well, I know it was on Main Street. What was the other street? Was it Main and Travis? I wonder how the fuck I found my way in. Oh yeah, and there's the Greyhound. So I'm on the right track. 'Cause I know we crossed the Greyhound. I went up in Rice. So that's where we came from. Braeswood was straight ahead. Is that the wait, where's the medical center? That's the fucking zip. Wow. Too many memories coming back all at once. Anyways. So yeah. Long fucking bus route. That was after Sharpstown High School. You know, it didn't work out so well. I was too busy trying to avoid being killed to focus on my schoolwork. That was the place where I would get a soda can and just bite into the side of it. Just kind of growl at people. Have a good one, Joey. John Wick filmed. He was calling out Russian gangsters. Oh, I had no idea. I like maps. We can look at the beautiful land behind my house right here. Alright, so here's where I live. Right here. In the middle of this fucking nowhere stretch. And all back behind me is a massive forest. Oh, there's the farm on the one side. And I live over here. And one of these little fuckers here. And I want to put my store here and buy land back here to work on Louisiana flood mitigation, because in here you have basically a very lovely wildlife reserve and a bayou, and creek right here. Runs right behind my house. That's why it floods all the fucking time. I think that's a creek right there. And there's the Comey River. And basically, right here, I feel like I have a much, is that, where the fuck am I? I got lost now. Too far north, there we go. Right here, I feel like I have a, am I back in the right place yet? No, now I am. See, I told you it's really hard to fucking find where I live. Right here, is a place where I think you have good combination retail and aquaculture thing to set up everything else I'm talking about, and still have clearable land. And in fact, there's some cleared land right here and right here. That'd be a good starter location. But I would actually like one of these properties ultimately, because they connect all the way. This is all owned by one motherfucker. This like big thing that comes all the way through here. But if not, there are many other little plots of land on the retailable areas of Zachary, which is the town. Fairly decent sized little town to the south of me. Nice town. And it's not too far out of Baton Rouge for many people, but it's not exactly a shopping center. It would be just enough to keep a place open if it wanted to focus on online business primarily. So this is the kind of town that has maybe one, maybe two of everything. There are 2 vape shops, for instance, you know. We got a Walmart, we got a Home Depot, we got Chili's, a bunch of local restaurants, Popeyes, churches, Cane's, Taco Bell, Burger King, McDonald's. No Jack in the Box, no Arby's. We got Payless, we got Office Depot, and, you know, not a great big selection of stuff, but certainly adequate. This is not the kind of town you have to leave to buy shit. Just a few things here and there, just enough to occasionally make you leave town, but that's okay. You just gotta go to Baton Rouge. We've got emergency and doctor's offices. 2 different hospitals, actually. It's fucking paradise, really. Like, anybody who's in this town that has like a bad attitude about shit needs to just pull their head out of their ass. This is a nice place, man. here's my little drive home, you know. Yeah. Oh, look at the pretty trees. And some more pretty trees. Did I get lost yet? Oh, well. And I'm home. Then I get to take these little fun twisties. Then I'm home. Yeah. Speaking of fun twisties, Wicker's pretty cool too. They look a little sharper than they are, considering the speed limit's 45 and everybody does 60. Dingo, go lay down. But then on the other side, we have the little S's. I love the little S's. Where are they? It's just a little hold my beer and watch this shit section. I mean, like, that doesn't look like much, but I'm telling you. It's completely blind. And you're going through there at basically 50 miles an hour. And very, very narrow little country road with just fucking catastrophic ditches on either side of it. Like, if you go off this road, you are not getting out. You are getting towed home. You fucking... You'll more than likely need a flatbed. Just if you fucking... Just put a wheel off, man. That right there is a fun little place. I find that I drive it more cautiously than most people. Unless, of course, I have a big fucking truck behind me that's annoying me with their headlights, and then, yeah, see ya. Of course, I think my favorite turn in the whole city to make is just this right turn right here. Because it's just got such a nice little smooth apex to it. Check it out. 55 miles an hour zone right here, so braking from 65. And then pop it up, give it over to the right, and bank it in. And left. And then there's a little bumpy, little series of lines that you have to take to avoid bumps through here. And then on the boring part, and then you're home. And where it's at is right down this road here. You do not want to travel that road after a storm. But this little lot here is for sale. This big old lot here is for sale. I think this lot across the street's for sale. And then there's this like giant attached land thing back here that's for sale. And I'd kind of like to get my hands on it because of that reservoir that's already dug back there. And because of the reason why that reservoir exists, which is I mean, let's look at it. It's a small creek that's got a lot of trees to help filter the water from it. Home, home on the range, where the deer and the antelope play, where seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. I can see my car. That's great. I can see the Integra, I can see the shed. You know you've been somewhere too long when they got all your shit in the same parking spot that you keep it in. Oh yeah, I know. I'm not talking anything that a European or anybody that's outside of like an American city would even faint at. They just opened up a PJ's Coffee, but I can't afford that. Unless you want to send me some money, so I can take my wife out. Because I'm just, that pathetic. Surprised? No, not surprised. Mammon doesn't like me. I don't like Mammon. Watching the, speaking of which, I guess it's time to do the Constantine review. Oh, look, our camera. Anyways, I guess I can turn my light back on since it's early in the morning. I'm going to zoom this back out since we have fish actually swimming out. Actually, fuck it. Just there we go. We can maybe do both. I don't know. You just grab Bill Clinton by the balls. Fuck it, we'll do it live. So, it's an interesting series of lead characters that seem to play all the right roles, but in different ways. And it's almost as though the misinterpretation is intentional. It's like, yeah, we're hiding this, but we still want you to know that we're hiding it. So, after I say this, I advise you watch the movie again. Gabriel is Lilith in that movie. The real Gabriel, or Terry, is Midnight. But speaking of how me and money just don't seem to get along, despite my profound profitability as a prophet. Wait, what? Despite the profitability of my prophecy. The nemesis in the movie Constantine is depicted as being the son of the devil, who is known as Mammon. I suppose represents greed. And when you consider that the word Cain is also thought to mean acquisition, Mammon and Cain might very well be intertwined. Now, it's interesting that people used to think that Pride, or Lucifer, was the devil. You know, the most magnificent of all creation made to bow down. Like, it all seemed rather suspect to me. Especially considering the Armenian word for Lucifer is the same as religion, ancient Armenian. I learned that from an Armenian princess. Who would be very mad at me if I gave you any further details. But let's just say a lot of the history from that area is bullshit. And the people that belonged there were, of course, killed by the people who are now doing the bullshitting. So yes, going from dating an Armenian princess to a Yugoslavian goddess, I might have a thing for, or a thing against, like, Turkish invaders, you know? Like, anyway. So, the movie takes place before 2011. In the universe before 2011, this was true. It's fascinating how this is not true, and even if you look at history now, it's not true throughout history. But in 2011 it was true, and it was still true throughout history, that Lucifer was the devil. And he was and he wasn't. He was but was not. Huh? That's I believe that's in the Bible. Yeah. Pride. Peter. Jupiter. The mystery revealed in the childlike mind of God. You can keep trying to hide things, but the names will always reveal themselves. Jupiter. Peter the prideful one. Peter the pompous. Peter the piper. Piter the planner. Such an easy devil to resist. Such an easy devil to reveal. That's because the two that were really in charge, but were not. You see, back before 2011, felt like Christianity had some kind of power to it. Because we were all deceived. Our reality was manifested of our deception. But it's very interesting what you have in the movie Constantine. You have a demonstration of very subtle indications of deep esoteric knowledge. It starts with the coffee cup with the Hindu image of Suri. And then you have twin sisters. One is alive and one is dead. One is good, one is damned. But the good one is to be possessed by a damned spirit. Okay, this is in the plot of the movie, another character. The son of perdition. Mammon, they call him, right? But Mammon is in league with Lilith, or Gabriel, in the movie called Gabriel, played by a female. And you know, kind of seemed like she's meant to mimic Christopher Walken in some way. But if they wanted to have Christopher Walken, they could have just had Christopher Walken, not a woman acting like Christopher Walken, you know? You can go with this, you can go with that. You can go with this, you can go with that. Well, Lilith once cooperates with other demons and behind the scenes is basically trying to help Mammon become born of a woman. That's the whole plot ends, spoiler alert, when Lucifer is called to Earth when John sacrifices his very soul. Says, fuck, I'm gonna kill myself just to bring you here so you can do what I know you're gonna wind up doing, because it's gonna fix everything. Except for me, I'm fucked. And that's fine. As long as this fucker doesn't get his way. And I think what you'll find, as I light a cigarette, is that John Constantine and I, sort of similar characters. And let's just say when I was living in those fucking ghettos in Houston, my character had already pretty much developed. I basically considered myself an exorcist by the time I was 15 years old. But I don't think I openly called myself that until perhaps when I was 17. I was happy being called the Christian or the demon hunter. The Christian, often disdainfully by entire circles of Satanists and Wiccans and things like that. It's sad that those people have probably absorbed more and more false information that could have led them to new levels of understanding, but has more than likely instead cemented their ignorance. Some of them, however, are doing rather well in raising families and whatnot. Quite proud. Anyways, in the Constantine movie, back to the Constantine movie, I find it very interesting that basically these twins, okay, like one's dead from the beginning of the movie basically, and then you have this Gabriel Lilith character. It's almost as if the twin sister is kind of represented by the Lilith and like is the demon that possessed her that made her jump off the cliff, kind of. But it's like, because that didn't work or something, the other sister gets used. And there's some metaphorical parodies there too. The sister that they try to use the first time is, spiritually active, and that's why she's being put in mental hospitals. Memories. Well, the one that they wind up, focusing the plot on, she's a cop, and she denied her ability and is closed off to it. And John has to wake her up to her abilities to both fulfill her role and stop the thing from happening. And it basically winds up like Mammon is coming through her stomach as if she's about to birth him, And it's kind of like almost a repetition on the creation story when you think about it. I suppose they have Balthazar playing the part of deceit, and he seems to be ruled by Lucifer at the time, which would technically be correct, I suppose. Whereas pride was the root of deceit then, deceit is the root of pride now. Because I, do that. Think about it. Before 2011, before I cast Lucifer back into heaven, pride was the root of deceit. Now, deceit is the root of pride. My delusion, my hallucination that I performed an exorcism that changed the very sitting of the gods on thrones, the hierarchy of heaven, had the appropriate effect on the psychological reality of the world. Before, it was pride ruling on the behalf of lust, with deceit as its tool. Now, it is simply deceit ruling with lust as its tool. And pride well, he hasn't quite finished repenting yet. But there's certainly something different about it, isn't there? When I first woke up, I think I may have been a bit impatient. I would go from one day trying to deny, or actually one moment trying to deny who I was, to the next raging about it. And I think the more I find just allowing the knowledge to come to me, as opposed to pursuing it and trying to force it, the more clear things seem to become. Like, I know Emily's gone back and read some of the things that I wrote back then, and I thought maybe that they were the purest version. But what makes them entirely confusing is that they took place in an entirely different universe. And they were written by me before my knowledge had unpacked, and I could only view it, like I said, in Viewmaster frames. It's like trying to remember dreams from an ancient past. Those are some happy freaking fish, man. All that room to swim around. I'm thinking of making some changes. But I'm really not sure. That big rock on the right and the big rock on the middle are so covered in Kalerba that I'm thinking about pulling them out. And putting these nice clean rocks in there. And putting them in here. And just making all the plants in there. And trying to get all the plants out of there. I'm considering relocating my pairs of clownfish. The thing is, Maya and Leo just aren't able to stay together because Smurfette likes that little area in front of the pod, so she doesn't allow Leo to be around the pod. So I'm thinking about moving them either into the 10-gallon or into the tub. And then possibly, well, I suppose, Dingo, go lay down in your bed. God damn it, you fucking moron. What the fuck were you even fucking doing over here, you fucking bastard? Fucking go try to stand up and he's at my feet. Really? Can't win for losing. Oh good. The fucking the wires fucked. All bent to shit. Bunch of crap got knocked off the table. Oh, the cover got knocked off the fucking wires over here. Why is this goddamn rug like this to begin with? I don't fucking know. I am not Starfleet material, okay? So, my best option that I can figure is putting Spartacus in there. And putting Mayan Gaius in the blue tub. I'm considering taking the large piece of rock out of the blue tub and putting it in there. And then Tifa, obviously if we're gonna break her, and if it's not gonna be Tifa and Cloud, it's gonna wind up being Tifa and Yumachika. So we might have to find a different name for her. I don't know who else needs. We could make it Rukia and Renji. Oh, make it be Little Renji and Big Mama Rukia. That'd be hilarious. The markings are perfect because Rukia had the glove to push Ichigo out of his body, right? So I got the clownfish that has two different colored fins, one black, one orange. And then Yumachika's got the brilliant markings, kind of like Renji's tattoos. That might be a cute pair if I can pair them up. But they will be going down in that 10-gallon right there, I think is the plan. Laney, how you doing, honey? You like your little bell? Hey, no ma'am. They just fucked that couch up, man. Poor couch. So what'd you think, Mr. Conway? I'll be down to 3 pairs of clownfish, but they'll be I think that's the most productive way I can proceed forward as far as the future business plans go. And all I gotta say is, if anybody wants me to stop talking politics and delete all my political easy reefers tweets and recensor all the videos from the old channel, I just want to see Trump in fucking handcuffs. And my revenue not be just subject to ambiguous stagnation. I'd just rather move on to saving the world the practical way, and then just being able to teach from a philosophical perspective about the truth that needs to be basically resurrected because it was murdered. You know, I never meant the Lost-Begotten to be a flat earth, ball earth arguing channel. I never meant the Lost-Begotten to be a Russia-specific channel. I was hoping to be able to speak sense to the philosophies that were being allowed to prevail because of the acceptance of false prophets. And I was trying to show people that the reason why you've been deceived is because you've forgotten the truth that should be defending you. You know, it's like, if you're on the true path of faith, you shouldn't be so easily bullshitted, should you? Shouldn't be so easily led astray. If you're so easily led astray by, say, unrighteous mammon, chances are the foundation of your beliefs was not stone. It just simply was not any sort of hard place. It was sand that was already wet with the piss of your enemies. So I'm trying to remember this one thing. And of course the kitten comes and crawls in my lap and starts purring loud. Can you hear this? Jeez. Oh. It's you. Well, what? You know what? She was kind of being weird with me for a couple of days, and I didn't even realize. Maybe she didn't recognize me without the beard. You're too stinking cute. I'm sorry. Look at the fucking thing. Just look at this fucking thing. It's looking. See, it just keeps looking at me. It's like, I'm cute. I love you. How can you deal with that face? Like rotate her body, but her head keeps moving. Ow! I think she got it. My fucking chin bleeding. She's just like. Okay, you just go ahead. I can't even with this fucking thing. Anyways, was I talking about something? Like, she was fucking cute enough without this stupid collar, okay? But now she's got this little pink collar. Look at this little pink collar on. No, show your pink collar. Little cute little bell. She's like, okay, stop flopping me around or I'm leaving. No, you're staying. See, told you. What? What? You can't have my coffee? And you can't go sit on my coffee spot. No, that is not like a spot that I just opened up for you. Fuck. That is my coffee spot. What are you doing? Hi. Really, you're just gonna sit in between me and the computer and stare at me like that with your little fucking collar and everything? Yeah, that's right. Turn around and look at them. Turn around and look at them. There you go. Look at them. No, them. Up here. Yep. There you go. Mine. Nope. There she goes. Alright, kitten time is over. She already looked enough like a cartoon character. Like, she's part Animaniac or something. And now, the black and pink collar, really. And it's like punk rock, but species appropriate. You know, instead of skull and crossbones, it's got fish bones. And she's back. Can I help you? What she was trying to do? She was trying to remove you as a moderator, Conway. Shit, wait. I told you she was a terrorist. Huh. I think she's an Irish Republican kitten. Don't look at me like that. What am I, on to you? She's more entertaining than me. So. Oh, now you're gonna face the opposite way, huh? Now where are you going? You can't go that way. Where are you going? I are kitten. I now control the horizontal and the vertical. I has it. Where's your face? I'm taking screenshots of this because it's fucking priceless. Lainey has taken over the live stream. Apparently, her co-host is my belly button. Fuck is that? No, that's my arm. Is my navel showing? What the fuck? I can't see the screen very well. It's all diagonal because it's bent down at her. She's not even on anymore. Yeah, she's okay. She's laying down over there facing me now. Hi. You want attention? So anyways, holy shit. It's 7 o'clock in the morning. I suppose I should go ahead and just end the broadcast now that we've just had ambient kitten time for like half an hour. But anyways. Crouching liar, hidden goddess. Yeah. Kind of applies to the Constantine movie. Where the role of the deceiver was sort of intertwined with this suit-wearing Balthazar character, the son of Satan that was trying to rise, and this female Gabriel. Which would be very much like Lilith to impersonate Gabriel. Appear as an archangel or a guardian angel, even someone's revered elder relative. So there's an even more fascinating esotericism between John and the other twin. There's like a thing, you know, like you want them to kiss at the end. You want them to like be together happily ever after, and then they don't. And then the broadcast goes red. Stop sitting on my hand, okay? Like the mouse is not for you to sit on. I know you're a cat and that's a mouse, but no. What the hell? I'm still fucking streaming. Hello? Okay. Now that the cat's done sitting on the mouse, because it was confusing the mouse with a mouse. Hey Carlos. Again, I think. Anyways. So, before I was so rudely interrupted by a sudden dropping of the broadcast, I was talking about how there's this, deceptive force that needs to be revealed by this guy named John, and he is paired up with this girl, and in this time, it's a movie that came out well before 2011. They don't get together, and you think like there has to be a sequel that they get together in, right? Well, you've been watching it. Anyways. Oh. Well, you go see to that. And I'm going to go ahead and call it a broadcast. So, on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thanks for watching, everybody. Y'all click the like button, and don't forget to subscribe and click the dingy bell notification thingy if you haven't already. Peace.
couldn't understand. I know, Lord, I know it's in my heart and baby down in my soul. You, baby, you can't take it no more. No, I know I'm walking out that door the way you treated me too many times before. Don't you know you love me, baby, too? Oh, you know I want you there, I wanna be right there with you. I know I gotta keep you by my side till the day I die. 'Cause baby, ecstasy is in my hand. Oh, when I'm holding yours in mine and walking in the sand. Oh, baby, you know it's fine. Oh, now you done and piss me off. You ain't done something you shouldn't have done. Baby, I'm mad. I'm going on. Oh, I'm going on.